The second film of the Beatles had been called Beatles Production 2. Then, Eight Arms to Hold You was suggested. In the end, it was given the title Help. So John Lennon and Paul McCartney had to write a song with that title. Based on the book The Beatles Recording Sessions by Mark Levison, the band started the recording in the 13th of April, year 1965. Takes 1 to 8 concentrated on the rhythm tracks. Take 9 introduced the first vocals. Take 10 was complete.
4-track to 4-track. And
Take 11 was a false start.
Right, this is take 11.
And take 12 was the best and final take, with the introduction of George Harrison's descending, jangly guitar riff, which made the song so distinctive. And this content is about that guitar riff by George. The tutorial is presented in guitar tablature form or guitar tab. And if you're not familiar at reading guitar tablature, here's a brief introduction or brief description of it. You see 6 lines, and these lines represent the strings of the guitar. The bottom line represents the 6th string, and the top line represents the 1st string. So the bottom line is the low E, then the line above it is the A string, and the next line above it is the D string, and the next line above that is the G string, and the next line above it is the B string. And so the top line is the high E string. Now, you see numbers on those lines. The numbers on the lines are the frets. So if you look at one line and you see a number, that number is the fret. It represents the fret. And by the way, on the guitar, these spaces are the frets. And so this is 1st fret, 2nd fret, 3rd fret, 4th fret, 5th, and so on. So if you see a number 2 on a particular line, that represents a string. For example, let's say it's the D string, then that D string is to be pressed or played at 2nd fret. Now let's read the tablature. The first number that you see is 2, and that is on the line representing the 5th string or the A string. Now that tells you to pick or play the 5th string at 2nd fret. So here. And then it's followed by 0, and this tells you to play the same string because that 0 is on the same line. So to play the same string, which is A string, open, as that what 0 mean. And as for the timing or rhythm, the number 2 there is to be played at count 1. And the next number, which is 0, is to be played at count 3. The tempo of the song is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I'm going to play those numbers in that measure, it's gonna sound like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. At a slower tempo, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it for that measure. In the next measure, you only see one number, and that is 3 on the bottom line, and that represents the low E string or the E string. And the number 3 there tells you to play the 6th string at 3rd fret. So here. And this number is to be played right at count 1. And you have to hold the sound for 4 counts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So if I'm going to play the first 2 measures, it's gonna sound like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. In the next measure, you see 2 numbers, 3 and 2, and they are on the same line, on the bottom line, and that represents the 6th string. The first number is 3. This tells you to play the 6th string first at 3rd fret. And then the number 2 is 2nd fret. So, and the first number, which is 3, is to be played right at count 1. 1. And the number 2 is to be played at count 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I'm going to play from the beginning, it's gonna sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. The next two measures show same number, and the number is 0. And you see a curved line above those numbers. This tells you that since those numbers are the same and they are on the same line, so they are tied. Meaning, you're going to play the 6th string as the numbers on the bottom line, which represents the 6th string. And the number 0 there tells you to play the 6th string open. So in the measure where the first 0 appears, you're going to play the 6th string open and hold it for 4 counts. And since it is tied with a 0 in the next measure, then all you have to do is just hold the sound for the next measure. So it means like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I ring that sound for 2 measures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You don't have to pick it one more time, but just once, but keep it ringing for 2 measures. So in effect, this note rings for a total of 8 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. A demonstration from the very beginning up to this measure goes like this. At a slower tempo, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. The notes in the next 2 measures are the ones referred as the descending jangly guitar figures of the entire guitar riff for this song. So if we read the tablature from left to right, it goes like this. We begin with number 7 on that line, and that line represents the 5th string. The number 7 tells you to play the 5th string at 7th fret. And then it's followed by number 5 on the line above it, and that line refers to the 4th string. And you see 2 number 5 there, so you are going to play the 4th string twice at 5th fret. And then it's followed by number 4 on the next line above it, and that line represents the 3rd string. And you see number 4, now that tells you to play the 3rd string at 4th fret. So for that group, you see 7 on the 5th string, and then 5 on the 4th string twice, and then 4 on the 3rd string. In the next group of numbers, you see 6 on the line that represents the 5th string. And this is the 5th string, so you are going to play it at 6th fret. And then it's followed by number 5 on the line above it, which represents the 4th string. And you're going to do it one more time. And then the next number is on the line that represents the 3rd string. And you see number 4 there. So that means you play the 3rd string at 4th fret. So in that measure, you have 2 groups of numbers. One that begins with 7 on the 5th string, and then followed by 4th string played twice at 5th fret, and then on the 3rd string at 4th fret, and then on the next group, you have the 5th string played at 6th fret, and then it's followed by the 4th string played twice at 5th fret, and then on the 3rd string at 4th fret. In the next measure, you also see two groups. The first group has number 5 on the line that represents the 5th string. That tells you to play the 5th string at 5th fret. And then it's followed by number 5 on the line that represents the 4th string. And you're going to play it twice, as you see two number 5 there. And then it's followed by number 4 on the line that represents the 3rd string. So you're going to play the 3rd string at 4th fret. And the next group has number 4, or begins with number 4 on the same string, which is 5th string. So you're going to play the 5th string at 4th fret. And then it's followed by number 5 on the line that represents the 4th string. And there are two 5s, so you are going to pick the same string twice. And lastly, you have number 4 on the line that represents the 3rd string. And that number is 4, so you are going to play the 3rd string at 4th fret. So in this measure, you have two groups of numbers. One that begins with 5, followed by 2 5 on the 4th string, and then a 4 on the 3rd string. And in the next group, begins with 4 on the 5th string, and then 2 5s on the 4th string, and then 4 on the 3rd string. Now, if you examine these four groups, you will see that they are very similar. The numbers on the line that represents the 4th string are all the same. It's all 5. And the numbers on the line that represents the 3rd string are all the same, which is number 4. The only difference is the number on the line that represents the 5th string. In the first group, you have number 7. In the next group, you see number 6, or it begins with number 6. In the next group, it begins with number 5. And the next group begins with number 4. These four notes, 7th on the 5th string, 6th fret on the same string, 5th fret on the same string, and 4th fret on the same string, is the one referred to as descending, because they are descending. From this pitch, it goes down by a half step, goes down by another half step, and it goes down by another half step. You will notice that each of these notes is followed by the same sequence of numbers and strings. The first one, in the first group, 7 is followed by 5 5, and then 4. The second group, which begins with 6 on the 5th string, is followed by 5 5 and 4. And then in the third group, which begins with 5, is followed by 5 5 and then 4. And then in the last group, which begins with 4, is followed by 5 5 and then 4. Now, I would suggest for you to be able to play these four groups, which covers two measures, you have to do 8-note counting. And 8-note counting is like this. If the tempo is 1, 2, 3, 4, you have to count this way for 8-note counting. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... As these notes are actually 8 notes. In the first group that starts with 7, it begins with count 1, 1, and then the next number, which is 5, at the end after 1, N, and one more time at count 2, 2, and then the next one is on the end after count 2, N. So in the first group, it goes like this: 1, N, 2, N. And then in the second group, which begins with 6, is at count 3. And then the next note is at N after count 3. And then the next note, which is the same as the previous, is at count 4. And then the last note, which is 4, is on the N at count 4. So the next group goes like this: 3 and 4 and. In the next group, which is the third group, it begins with 5 on the 5th string, and that would be at count 1. And then it's followed by 5 on the 4th string, and that would be at N after count 1. And then it's followed again by 5 on the same string, and that would be at count 2. And then it's followed by 4 on the 3rd string, and that would be at N after count 2. So for that group, it goes like this: 1 and 2 and. Then in the last group, it begins with 4 on the 5th string, and that would be at count 3. Then it's followed by 5 on the 4th string, and that would be at N after count 3. And again on the same string at same fret, and that would be at 4. And the last one is number 4 on the 3rd string, and that would be at N after count 4. So it's going to be like this: 3 and 4 and. Since there are common notes between these groups, then we can simplify our left hand fingering this way. We have 5 on the 4th string, so we assign one finger there, and that would be the middle finger. And then we have 4 on the 3rd string, and we assign our index finger there. And then for the one that's changing the numbers on the 5th string, it begins with 7. We'll play it with our pinky. So 1 and 2 and that's the first group. And then on the second group, it begins with 6, so we position the ring finger on the 6th fret of the same string, 5th string, and take out the pinky. Then 3 and 4 and then for the next group, it begins with 5. Then we'll have to position the ring finger to 5th fret. That means bring it down to 5th fret. So it goes like this: 1 and 2 and then for the last group, since it begins with 4, then we should have started with the index finger pressing the 5th string and the other strings as well. So that all we have to do is, when we get to this group, is to take out the ring finger, so we can start the 5th string at 4th fret. So 3 and 4 and. So as recap, we should have the index finger pressing 5 strings, and then the middle finger on the 4th string at 5th fret, and begin the first group with the pinky on the 7th fret. 1 and 2 and then for the next group, 3 and 4 and then for the third group in the next measure, move the ring finger to 5th fret. 1 and 2 and then for the last group, take out the ring finger. 3 and 4 and. So it goes like this at a faster tempo: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. The riff that we have discussed is just for the intro. The riff For the refrain, the sequence of notes and strings are exactly the same as what we have discussed. The only difference is how to play some of the notes, especially those notes that are played longer, like for two measures. The difference lies in the first part of the entire riff. For the intro or the beginning, we play the riff this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But in the following times, or in the succeeding times, we have the part of the riff played this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you noticed, those notes that are played a whole note or for one measure and two measures in the first part of the song or at the beginning of the song, the duration of those notes are longer in the succeeding times. I'm referring to the number 3 on the 6th string. At the beginning or for the intro, you have to hold it for one measure or for 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. But for the succeeding times, you are going to hold it for 3 measures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the other note is when you play the 6th string open. At the beginning or for the intro, the 6th string that is played open is to be played for 2 measures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But in succeeding times, it's going to be played for 4 measures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But the rest are the same. So as recap at a slower tempo, for the intro, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 then for refrain part, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 for the performance video of the whole riff at record tempo, click this card. Subscribe to be notified automatically for new uploads. Thank you for watching.